Hare Krishna. So, welcome back to our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1. We have completed verses 1 to 17. Today, we will begin with the 18th verse of the first chapter. So, the first chapter, the main essence of this chapter is the 6 questions that the sages at Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, asked Sri Suta Goswami. And the answers to these 6 questions will constitute the second chapter and the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So the first question we discussed some time ago was the verse number 9, where the sages want to know that what is the ultimate good for people in general. And the second question was asked in text number 11, where the sages ask the essence of all scriptures. Then we saw the third question asked in text number 12 as that why did Krishna appear in the womb of Mother Devaki as son of Vasudeva? What was the purpose of Krishna's descent? And the fourth question which we took up last time was text number 17, where the sages wish to know the Purusha avatars or the incarnations of the Lord who appear in this material world. And now the main chapter, the remaining few verses, the 4 or 5 verses of this chapter, will deal with the last 2 questions that the sages are asking. So text number 18 is where we will begin now. And this is question number 5 that the sages ask. So you can please repeat after me. Ata kya hi hare diman
Ata kya hi hare diman
Avatara katha shubha
Avatara katha shubha
Leela vidadatah svairam
Leela vivadatha svairam
Ishvarasyatma mayaya.
Ishvarasyatma mayaya.
Translation, I was wishing that somebody else would read this time. Every time we can have different devotees read the translation.
Ekta Jogani Mataji can read.
O wise Sutta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord, the Supreme Controller, are performed by His internal powers.
So this is the question number 5, where the sages wish to know the Leela avatars of Krishna. That when Krishna appears in this world, like say Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, there are amazing pastimes he performs. And you will see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, these incarnations have been described in great detail by Shukdev Goswami. For the sages want to know that when Krishna comes as Narasimhadev, what exactly does he do? When he comes as half man, half lion. When the Lord appears as a boar incarnations, what are his pastimes? So now we know the answers because we will read in the third canto. When the Lord appears, he kills Hiranyaksha, he saves Mother Earth from falling into the causal ocean. So like that, different incarnations, pastimes will be revealed in the Srimad Bhagavatam as a response or an answer to the question asked by the sages here. So this is question number 5. There is one more question remaining. But now the sages are going to reveal to Suta Goswami why they have asked the above questions. What is the reason why they're asking these questions about incarnations of Krishna? So that is a very interesting justification they give in text number 19. So all of you can please respond. Vayam tuna vitrapyama
Vayam tu na vitrapyama
Uttama shloka vikrame
Uttama shloka vikrame
Yashrinvatam rasagyanam
Yachshrinvatam rasagyanam
Svadu svadu pade pade.
Swadu swadu pade pade.
We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment.
So here, the sages are saying that they want to hear more about Krishna. And that is why they're asking these questions. In fact, many of them may already be knowing the answers to the questions they are asking. See, this is very interesting about Srimad Bhagavatam. When the sages are asking questions, it's not that they don't know the answer. Like one of the questions is, tell us about the Lila avatars, or tell us about the Purusha avatars. You think they don't know the answers? No, but they are eager to hear the answers because that is the nature of Krishna Katha. In fact, when you read third canto, you will be amazed to find Vidura asking questions to Maitreya Rishi, and he himself gives the answer also. So you may wonder, if you know the answer, why do you ask the question? But the nature of devotees is they ask questions because they want to churn the nectar. Just like when you churn the buttermilk, you get butter. So similarly, when you churn the devotee's heart by asking questions, then the devotees get inspired and they explain about Krishna more. I remember we had one devotee in our temple many years ago. After every Bhagavatam class, he would raise his hand and ask a question. It was very interesting, and he was a very senior devotee, and he would sit right in the front. And there is a saying in Vedanta Sutra which says, the first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Atato means therefore, Brahma means absolute truth, Jigyasa means curiosity. So the first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is that therefore now you should be eager to know about God, about supreme truth. So the word therefore is very important there. The word therefore implies that you are now a human being. Therefore, you should ask about God, because animals cannot ask these questions. So Atato Brahma Jigyasa is the aphorism. And this devotee would be sitting in the front, and he would, after every class, he would raise his hand and ask a question. And sometimes it became very comical and joking because, he would ask questions we knew that he already knows the answer, but he wanted the speaker to speak more. So sometimes when he would raise his hand to ask a question, so we would be sitting behind and we would all pass a comment. We would say, Atato Bhayankar Jigyasa. We would say, his curiosity is intense. And we would make fun of him, but he was, of course, he took it in the right spirit. But the principle is this, that devotees ask questions. And here you see three things are there. In the first line of the verse, the Shaunaka Rishi is saying, Vayam tuna vitripyama. Means we are not completely satisfied. We want more, more, more. And the third line, they say, Esh Srinvatam Rasa Jnanam. We have awareness of the taste of bhakti, of Krishna. And last line says, Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade, Swad aa raha hai, bahut relish ho raha hai, bahut taste aa raha hai. So, see, basically, it is a paradox. Devotees of Krishna say, wow, Krishna Katha is so satisfying. And you will see here the same devotees say, but we want more. We're not satisfied. So you may think, how can you say you are happy and you are saying you are not satisfied? Is a devotee like the materialistic person? No. This paradox can be resolved if you understand that when a devotee says, is satisfied means basically, it is like, take an example of food. If somebody is a connoisseur of food, like I know somebody who loves South Indian food. So if you keep upma, poha, idli, medu vada, all those items, as soon as he sees dosa, he says, my search has ended. Now he says, now I'm satisfied. I don't need any of the other things. I need only dosa. But once he enters the world of dosa, then he wants more and more of dosa. He says, I'm not satisfied by one. I want more dosa. So the point is, similarly, the seekers, spiritual seekers, they have many paths in front of them, which is like upma, idli, medu vada, like that. Impersonal meditation, so many scriptures, yoga, jnana, Raja Yoga, so many paths are there. But when they come to Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhakti Yoga, it is like the dosa in this analogy. Bas, now nothing else. Krishna Katha is there. No, now we don't need anything else. Enough. This is everything for me. But now that they've entered the world of Krishna Katha, which is like the dosa in the analogy, they are saying, but quantity is not sufficient. We want more of the quantity of Krishna Katha. So that is the way we understand the paradox. How devotees, pure devotees of Krishna, are saying that they are satisfied by Krishna Katha, but they're not satisfied. They're satisfied because in relation to the other subject matters, their search is ended. But within Krishna Katha, they are saying, oh, no, no, now you cannot say that you have finished the class. We want more. Now, how can you know, in this world also, how can you know when somebody is satiated? Or somebody says that, somebody says, I had enough now. Okay. Now, this can happen. See, if this can happen, satiation can happen when there are three things there. First is like in the verse it is said, Vayam tuna vitripyama, means, when you have a sufficient quantity, then generally you say, I'm satiated. Like in this analogy, I gave example of the person who loves dosas. If you keep serving him dosas, I actually know a friend of mine who can eat 10 big sada dosas. And that's when he says, now I'm satiated. So he loves dosas very much. So after 10 dosas, he says, I had enough. So when he says I had enough, that means his quantity of dosas is enough. So that is one way we can know that a person is satiated, because sufficient quantity he has got. Sometimes we also know when a person will say, I had enough, that is also because of when a person lacks awareness of taste. Like if somebody doesn't have a taste, then when he doesn't have a taste, he doesn't want more. Like I know a North Indian, a Punjabi, who is very intrigued by my comfort with idlis. Now he is grown up eating parathas and lassi, and I am from South India, and I used to eat idli every day in the morning. So when he used to come to my house, out of respect, he wouldn't say anything, but he would quietly eat. But then later on, he would tell me in private, ये इडली है क्या यार? या तो उसमें शक्कर डाल के मीठा बनाओ, या तो तड़का डाल के उसको स्वादिष्ट बनाओ, मीठा चटपटा बनाओ. It doesn't have masala also. It doesn't have sweet also. So I used to think, what a fool is he? Doesn't know the glories of idli. Now, poor fellow, the problem with him was he didn't have taste for it. So he is not interested. He says, bas ho gaya, auntie idli bas ho gaya. And I used to and he used to say that because he had no taste for it. So this is the second reason why somebody is satiated or somebody says I had enough. First is, he wants more and he didn't get enough quantity. And when he gets enough quantity, he says, I'm satiated. Second, he doesn't have an awareness of the taste. Like here in this verse, it is said, Shrinvatam rasa jnanam. The sages are saying jnanam. We have taste of the rasa. We have the awareness of the taste. We know what is this taste. So the sages are not satisfied because they didn't get sufficient quantity of Krishna Katha. And secondly, they have awareness of taste also. So they want more. And the third reason why somebody says I had enough is when they are unable to relish or when they lack, like for example, I'll tell you my own story. I mean, idli is not my favorite food, but I am okay with idli. I like it. So first time when I went to one European city, there is ISKCON temple there. And the devotees there said, today for breakfast, we have idli. So I was like, wow, I was very intrigued. I said, here also they make idli. And I knew the cook, the head cook of the temple. He was in the army. He's a North Korean. And he's retired from the North Korean army as a cook. Then he became a devotee of Krishna, then all a long story. And now he was here as a head cook of the temple. And when I heard he's making idlis for all the devotees, I was like, wow, South Indian idli item is being prepared by a North Korean army chef in Europe. I said, what a journey this idli has made. So I was very curious. So I went to the breakfast excited. And the moment I put that idli in my mouth, I didn't want another bite because the idli was so atrocious. It was so bad in taste, and I was totally disappointed. Now I have awareness of the taste of idli, but what happened here, I couldn't relish it. The problem was that idli was not according to my expectation. My expectation was smashed. So what happened? He was there sitting right in front of me and he was eager to serve me because he wanted my report card. He wanted me to endorse. I just ate one idli and I said, Prabhu, I'm fully satisfied. I'm fully satisfied. I had enough, Prabhu. So, so sometimes we say I had enough because we can't relish something. Like we say, Prabhuji, your Bhagavatam class, half an hour class is enough, Prabhuji. Whoa, very completely, because we can't relish. So when we can't relish, we want enough. But these are the three ways or three reasons why sometimes we are satiated. First is quantity is sufficient, or second, we lack awareness of the taste, or third, we are unable to relish it. But what is interesting about the sages in Naimisharanya is that, first of all, they are feeling they didn't get sufficient quantity of Krishna Katha. They want 10 dosas, but they didn't even get one dosa. So they are like, they want more of Krishna Katha. Secondly, as the verse says, Shrinvatam Rasa Jnanam, they have awareness of the taste of Krishna Katha. And thirdly, Swadu Swadu Pade Pade, they actually taste, they actually relish Krishna Katha. So they are feeling insufficient quantity. So they want to hear more and more and more. So if you have access to the purport of this verse, I request Ekta Mataji, you are reading, you have the access to the Bhagavatam. So what you can do, if you see in the purport, there is a sentence which begins with the words, mundane news is static. So you can read from there and I will tell you when to stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Mundane news is static, whereas transcendental news is dynamic, in as much as the spirit is dynamic and matter is static. Those who have developed a taste for understanding the transcendental subject matter are never tired of hearing such narrations. One is quickly satiated by mundane activities, but no one is satiated by transcendental or devotional activities. Uttama Shloka indicates that literature which is not meant for nescience. Mundane literature is in the mode of darkness or ignorance, whereas transcendental literature is quite different. Transcendental literature is above the mode of darkness, and its light becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization of the transcendental subject matter.
Okay, this is where we will stop. So this particular section in the purport is very powerful, where Srila Prabhupada is saying that there is a big difference between reading Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, and reading mundane literature. Mundane literature is static. If you carefully analyze, the stories and the news is same. You know, like one poet had said, नाटक वही चल रहा है, किरदार बदलते जा रहे हैं. The actors are changing, but it is the same plot, the same story in the material world. Therefore, it becomes dry. Sometimes, you know, people who have engaged in all kinds of sense gratification, they have watched all kinds of movies, they have access to all kinds of pleasures. At some point of time, they feel dry, they feel hollow, and they look for Krishna consciousness because Krishna consciousness gives them that alternative. And therefore, they are revealing that we want to hear about Krishna. We are not satiated. We want more and more and more. And in that mood, the sages are explaining in text number 20 about Krishna's very special quality, which is attracting them to hear more and more about the Lord. So text number 20, we will chant now. Kritavan kila karmani Saharamen Keshava
Saharamen Keshava
Atimartyani Bhagavan
Atimartyani Bhagavan
Gudah Kapatha Manusha.
Gudah Kapata Manusha.
Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts.
So in this verse, it is explained how Krishna, he came to this world, he was behaving like an ordinary human being, and he performed many pastimes. And we are not satisfied hearing about him. We want to hear more and more and more. And here, particularly, they are saying that Krishna performed these pastimes as if he was an ordinary human being, but he masked his divinity. Krishna is so amazing that he performed superhuman activities, but yet he appeared like an ordinary child. So nobody could understand his divinity. Otherwise, see, when Krishna, simple example, when Krishna killed Putana, now for a small baby to kill such a huge demoness is not easy. But Krishna did not have to change his size to kill Putana. He did not change his innocence. He did not change his form. He was same, a small baby only, but yet he killed Putana. Now, which 7-year-old child who can lift a huge mountain? Krishna did not become strong in the sense he did not develop big biceps. He didn't go to the gym. He remained a small 7-year-old boy, and yet he lifted the Govardhan hill. And how many 6-year-old children who can dance on the hoods of a snake? Krishna, as a 6-year-old boy, danced on Kaliya's hoods. How many 1-year-old children, babies, who can fly to the sky and then land safely by falling from a huge height? And Krishna, as a 1-year-old boy, he fell from Trinavarta, along with Trinavarta, and nothing happened to him. So Krishna is expert in deceiving both the demons and the devotees. And demons like Jarasandha, he could not recognize Krishna. And he was deceived by Krishna because of his envious nature, because of his ignorance, they got bewildered. Demons get bewildered by Krishna. And you will see, even Krishna's pure devotees like the gopis of Vrindavan, they are also not able to recognize Krishna's divinity. Krishna masks himself to them also. And they get bewildered because of their love for Krishna. So Krishna conceals himself. And in today's verse, the sages are saying that Krishna masks his divinity. So we want to know more about this amazing personality. It is explained, Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishvara Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam Antar Bahiravastitam. So in this Bhagavatam beautiful verse, it is explained that I offer my respects to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Namasye Purusham Tvadyam. Ishvara is Ishvara and also is beyond the matter, is beyond Prakriti, Prakrite Param. And the best part about Krishna is Alakshyam, is invisible. Krishna is Alakshyam, to all living entities is invisible. Alakshyam Sarva Bhutanam, he is invisible to all living beings, yet Antar Bahiravastitam, is inside of everyone, and Krishna also exists outside of everyone. This is the amazing part about Krishna. And Krishna is so expert in masking his divinity that it is compared, his expertise is compared to that of an actor. Maya Javanika Channam Agyadokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshase Mudadrasha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. Nato Natya means the actor in the drama will come and perform acting in such a way that when the audience, in our annual drama festival in Chowpatty Temple, sometimes when all the dramas are performed by devotees well known to the devotees. So sometimes we see an actor on the stage and we say, who is that? Who is that? We can't recognize him because he has dressed himself so meticulously and is acting so well that we can't know what is his real identity. So Kunti Devi in this prayer is saying that Krishna, Nato Natya, Krishna is such an expert actor on the stage of this material world that we can't recognize him. Maya Javanikachannam, the power of illusion covers us like a curtain and we are unable to see the real Krishna. So this is how Krishna is. And the sages in Naimisharanya are saying that this is amazing, amazing, and we want to know more about this amazing personality, Krishna. Please don't stop. Please go on telling us more and more and more. We have already asked you 5 questions. But before we ask you the sixth question, we want to emphatically assert that we want no shortcut answers. We don't want a short class. We want a long answer, long class. And this emphatic answer or emphatic declaration comes in text number 21, where the sages reveal their real agenda. So please let us chant this verse. Kalim agatam agyaya kshetresmin vaishnave vayam
क्षेत्रेऽस्मिन् वैष्णवे स्वयम्
आसीना दीर्घ सत्रेण
आसीन दीर्घसत्रेण
कथायां सक्षणा हरे.
कथायां सक्षणा हरे.
Knowing well that the age of Kali has already begun, we are assembled here in this holy place to hear at great length the transcendental message of Godhead and in this way perform sacrifice.
So the sages are saying that we know that Kali Yuga is about to begin now, and it has already begun. And we are therefore, we understood that there is no point doing anything else. Let us come to the most powerful remedy for this age, which is to hear about Krishna. So if you have access to the purport, you can see the second sentence of the purport. Can you please read from the second sentence onwards, which begins with the words, for self-realization.
For self-realization, the people in Satya Yuga, living a lifetime of 100,000 years, were able to perform prolonged meditation. And in Treta Yuga, when the duration of life was 10,000 years, self-realization was attained by performance of great sacrifice. And in the Dwapar Yuga, when the duration of life was 1,000 years, self-realization was attained by the worship of the Lord. But in the Kali Yuga, the maximum duration of life being 100 years only, and that combined with various difficulties, the recommended process of self-realization is that of hearing and chanting the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord.
Bus. So this is very clear. Different ages have different remedies, different paths. And these sages are very intelligent. They know what is the remedy for Kali Yuga. Kriteya dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yajato makhe Dvapare paricharyayam kalau tad hari kirtanat. So the sages are saying, this is explained in the scripture, that Krite in Satya Yuga dhyayato, meditation is the process recommended. And Tretayam, in the Treta Yuga, yajato makhe, elaborate yajna, sacrifices is the path recommended. Dvapare paricharyayam, and in Dwapara Yuga, the temple worship is the path recommended. But for Kali Yuga, kalau tad hari kirtanat, glorification of Krishna is the solution. So the sages have very, very clear understanding that if we want to experience God, we have to hear and chant. There is a very beautiful verse in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I would like to beseech your attention on this, which explains there are 6 things if you do, you will experience Krishna in your heart. It is a very beautiful verse which says, Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nan vanjasa suribiriditorta tatad gunanu shravanam mukunda padaravindam hridayeshu yesham. Hridayeshu, in the heart, Padaravinda. If you want to experience the lotus feet of Krishna in your heart, then you have to do these 6 things. First is Shrutasya, means hear about Krishna. Like what we are having now, or when you are reading the book, it is compared to hearing. But very important point here is, Pumsam, human beings should hear about Krishna, but they should hear it for a long time. Not that I will hear only for 1 year and then, I'm done with it. No. We have to hear consistently for many years. So hearing is not a 1-year project. It's not a 3-year BA course or a BSc course. It is a lifetime project. That is the meaning of the word Suchira. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya. Shramasya means we have to hear with hard work. We cannot say that, when I'm hearing the class and if I feel sleepy, I can't just go offline and go to sleep. I have to remain online. I have to remain awake. I have to put water into my eyes if that is needed and attentively hear the class. Shamasya. Shamasya means hard work. And how do we work hard? When we hear, we should hear that is the fourth quality mentioned. First is hear. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shamasya. Suchira means for a long time. Shamasya means with hard work. Now the fourth quality they are going to mention. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shamasya nan anjasa. Nan anjasa means hear it with detail. Don't look for shortcuts. Don't begin the class like this. Okay, today we are going to discuss the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the first chapter, mainly there are 6 questions. So that's it. You say the 6 questions and the chapter is over. No. Nan Anjasa means take each shloka, explain the translation of each verse, and systematically study. Detail mein padho. Don't cut corners. We have grown up in a generation when studying for exams, we used to have those set guides saying that 20 best questions for exams, 30 selected questions, or we used to get the summary of each chapter. Basically, we were all given shortcuts to study and clear exams. But we can't use that logic while studying Srimad Bhagavatam. We can't cut corners here because this is non-different from Krishna. We have to hear in detail. Nan Anjasa. That's why you see Srila Prabhupada was very critical about this Bhagavad Saptas. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes say, why do you have this Bhagavad Saptas? Why do you want to hear Bhagavatam only for 7 days? Why don't you hear Bhagavatam says you should read Bhagavatam Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means every day, regularly we have to hear Bhagavatam. It is not that we hear Bhagavatam for 7 days and then we give up. Nan Anjasa means hear in detail for many years with hard work. If, when I travel, I carry my kettle with me. And when I have to drink, I drink hot water in the warm water in the morning. So I have to boil I make the water hot. But once my kettle was acting funny, it would show the red light, which means it is heating up. And after 2 seconds, it would switch off. And then again, after some time, it would be on. And then again, it would be off. So do you think my water ever got hot? Do you think my water would ever become warm? No, because there is no constant supply of electricity. If you want the water to heat up, the electricity supply has to be constant without interruption. If it gets on for a few seconds and then it is off for a few minutes, then the water will never become hot. It will never boil. So if you want the water to reach boiling point, the electricity supply has to be consistent. Similarly, we want to experience Krishna in our heart, which is like the boiling point of emotions for Krishna, then the supply of hearing and study of scripture, which is like electricity, has to be consistent. It has to go on every day. Something you can read. At least for 2 minutes, we can read every day. At least for 5 minutes, we can read every day. So if you're reading every day, Nan Anjasa in great detail, if we read for a long time with hard work, and then the next 2 qualities are also important. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nan vanjasa suribir. The next verse says suribir. Suribir means hear from devotees of Krishna, pure devotees of Krishna, not from professional speakers who charge a few lakhs of rupees for a Bhagavad class. A devotee who is practicing the process to love Krishna, we have to hear about Krishna from such a person. If somebody is just is a performer, he is an entertainer, and he reads about Krishna and entertains the audience will not experience Krishna. So along with hearing, we also have to be careful of the speaker we choose from whom we hear the Bhagavatam. So that person has to be Suribir, he has to be a devotee of Krishna. So these are the 5 qualities that are needed to experience Krishna, but there is a 6th one. What is that? So I'll go back to the verse which says, Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nan vanjasa suribir iditortha. Iditortha means understand the verses, understand the Bhagavatam with different meanings. Understand the meanings in great detail. Don't, again, not just the pastimes in detail, but also the meaning. Understand the meaning deeply. Understand the depth of the verses. And if we do these 6 things, then what will happen? Shrutasya pumsam suchirashramasya nan manjasa suripiridhitortha tattad gunanu shravanam mukunda. That will increase our remembrance of Krishna. And that remembrance will lead to what? Padarabindam hridayeshu esham. Krishna's lotus feet will be permanently fixed in our heart. This is what will happen if we read about Krishna with these 6 qualities. Hearing for a long time, with hard work, in great detail, from pure devotees of Krishna, and we understand the meaning of the verses, not simply, not simply look for entertainment. Sometimes we just hear the verse and then we hear some jokes connected to that verse, and then we miss the essence. No, we have to understand the meaning. So in this mood, the pages are asking these 6 questions, and as they are now about to ask the final question, the 6th question, but before that, they want to tell Sutta Goswami that, oh dear sage, we are asking you these questions because we are now taking shelter of you. You are our master. You are the captain of our ship. So that's a very beautiful verse they speak in text number 22. I would like to request all of you to repeat after me. Tvam nah sandarshito dhatra
Nah darshito dhatra
dustaram nistitirshatam
dustaram nishtatershatam
kalim sattvaharam pumsam
kalim sattvaharam pumsam
karnadhara ivarnavam.
karnadhara ivarnavam.
We think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as the captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being.
So the sages are now giving a beautiful analogy here. They are saying, they're comparing this world, material world, to an ocean. Okay, so let's try to understand this analogy. It's a beautiful analogy. This material world is like an ocean, and the sound vibration, the Bhagavatam that we are studying, the scriptures, that is like a ship. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the ship in this ocean of material world. So in the ocean of material world, we are suffering, we are drowning, we are really struggling. So we need a strong ship to save us in this ocean. So we are, all of us right now, we are all like people who are drowning in an ocean, getting kicked and hit by the waves. But you may say, Prabhuji, but I'm a good swimmer. I can swim well. Okay, my question to you is, however great swimmer you are, would you be comfortable being in the ocean, in the middle of an ocean? And how long can you stay in the ocean? You will need eventually a ship, a strong ship. And that is compared to Srimad Bhagavatam. So material world is compared to an ocean. Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to a ship. And just like a ship needs a captain, to study Srimad Bhagavatam, we need a spiritual teacher. We need spiritual master. So the sages are telling Sutta Goswami that you are the captain of our ship. And who is the passenger of this ship, in this ship? You, me, I, we are all passengers. So we are drowning in the ocean of material world, but we can get out of this ocean if we enter the ship of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is captained by a very good spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada. And then from a drowning person, we become the passenger in this ship and we go back to the shores of Krishna's spiritual abode. So having built up this beautiful background, the sages now ask their 6th and final question in the last verse of this chapter to Shaunaka, to Sutta Goswami. So please repeat after me, verse number 23. ब्रूहि योगेश्वरे कृष्णे
योगेश्वरे कृष्णे
ब्रह्मण्ये धर्मवर्मणि
ब्रह्मण्ये धर्मवर्मणि
स्वां काष्ठाम् अधुनोपेते
स्वां काष्ठाम् अधुनोपेते
धर्मः कं शरणं गता।
धर्मः कं शरणं गतः।
Since Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter.
This is the sixth question. After Krishna left this world, where have the religious principles gone for shelter? And the fifth question, which we discussed a little while ago, was about the Leela avatars or the pastime incarnations of Krishna. And the fourth question was about the Purusha avatars or the incarnations of Krishna as the Vishnu expansions in the spiritual world, like Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. That was the fourth question. And the third question the sages asked was that why did Krishna appear? What purpose was achieved by Krishna appearing as son of Mother Devaki and Vasudeva? And the second question they asked was the essence of all scriptures. And the first question they asked in text number 9 was, what is the most absolute and ultimate good for all? What activity should all of us do? So these are the 6 questions they asked. Now, why devotees like these sages in Naimisharanya ask these questions? There is a very deep reason for that, because we all are living in this world with the reality which is very narrow. Our reality is defined by my world, I, me, mine. These are the 3 most important words in our dictionary. We see everything from a very limited perspective, and therefore many of us in our existence, everything is understood by my own analysis. But there are 2 realities. One is the reality we see, the way we perceive, but there is also the reality as seen by Krishna. See, the same situation is seen by you differently, and the same situation is seen by the Lord differently. You are seeing a situation in terms of your immediate problem, but Krishna is seeing this situation from overall point of view. But unfortunately, we have no training to see the world, our problems, situations from the Lord's point of view. But when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear the questions asked by the sages, when we hear, read, study Bhagavatam, then we learn to understand and accept a reality which is beyond my own limited understanding of reality. And it is Srimad Bhagavatam which helps us experience this reality, which helps us see things from Krishna's point of view. Otherwise, we are trapped. We are unable to see a higher reality. And what happens is when we spend time just listening or studying, where we have an open mind, and then suddenly things are revealed to us. Otherwise, we are using our brain, we are using our experience to understand. That is why listening is very, very important. Just like if you are in love with a person and you are constantly talking, but in a loving relationship, you also have to hear the other person talking. Similarly, in a relationship with Krishna, we are constantly praying. That's okay. But when we listen to the Lord, that is meditation. Our prayer becomes meditation when we also listen. Otherwise, it's simply we are talking. So therefore, we see in Bhagavatam, there are many prayers where there are pure devotees who are able to see things from the Lord's point of view. Like, for example, how do you explain this? Somebody like Kunti Devi, in one prayer, she says, "My dear Lord, please give me more and more difficulties in life." I mean, I don't know any person. I mean, if any person I know, I can't think of any person praying like this, that my God, oh Lord, please give me more troubles. We'll tell him, you go and examine your head, something wrong with you. I mean, do you have less problems in life? How can you ask for more troubles? But Kunti Devi is asking for more troubles, which clearly shows that she is experiencing a higher reality. Now, we have no idea what this reality is. But when we have a culture of reading and hearing Bhagavatam, we slowly get a glimpse of this higher reality. And then when we see things from Krishna's point of view, then our life becomes peaceful. Otherwise, we are always bogged down by our problems and by our difficulties. So therefore, this is the take home. These are the 6 questions which have been given to us by the sages in Naimisharanya. And chapter 2, which we will begin next week, the sages will get the answers from Sutta Goswami. And I invite you to attend this class next week. And now we will take some questions based on today's discussion. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can I ask a question, Prabhu?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, actually, you mentioned that daily hearing about Krishna's leelas and pastimes, that gives us the experience and everything. Reading Bhagavatam, reading it's not a saptah, so you should understand Bhagavatam daily and hearing Bhagavatam. So basically, what I wanted to ask is that sometimes when you hear Katha and Bhagavatam, you don't find direct Krishna Katha, in the sense like we said, the purport was saying that hearing the name, fame, qualities of the Lord, that gives a way of the process in the to understand Krishna. But like when we hear Bhagavatam or hear Bhagavatam daily, we don't find directly Leelas and pastimes or Katha. There's so much of so many other topics in the sense like philosophy, so many other worldly view. I mean, what is like so many other things are also there. It's I want to say it's not a simply Katha Leela. I say this pastime happened, that pastime. It's not a simply that. So sometimes philosophy is so much there, so many things are there. So why we don't get a direct? We can sometimes feel like juice नहीं लगता है. You don't feel the rasa, or if you don't feel that connect to that Leela directly. So although it's Krishna Katha only because but Bhagavatam is there, but like it's not a directly Krishna Katha in the sense what I'm pastime Leela में नहीं हो रहा है. So I don't understand. You don't feel a taste that way. So how do you see that and understand that?
Correct. You are right. Everything in Bhagavatam is not directly about Krishna. There is a lot of things which says you should see there is a difference between Krishna Katha and the glories of Krishna Katha. You'll find a lot of glories of Krishna Katha. But that is also Krishna Katha only. And you'll also find a lot of other things like philosophy, names of kings. Now, whenever you read names of so many kings, now I'll tell you a very interesting thing. Sukadeva Goswami speaks so much about Krishna Katha to Parishit Maharaj, but when Parishit Maharaj is about to die, Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking to him about all the different kings, and he starts giving him calculation of Brahmaji's time. I mean, you will wonder, "Arey, abhi ye marne wala hai, isko Krishna Katha sunao." But you will see Sukadeva Goswami in the 12th canto starts giving him detailed analysis of calculation of time.
Yeah.
You may wonder why he's doing all that. It is because Sukadeva Goswami wants to impress upon Parishit Maharaj and all of us that please understand Brahmaji's lifespan, which is billions of years old, is insignificant. It is as brief as a flash of lightning in the sky of eternity. So if Brahma's life is so short, and if all the names of kings that I have told you, if they are all so insignificant, then what is your lifespan? What is your problem? What is your worry? Don't worry about anything. Just absorb in Krishna. So to tell you to absorb in Krishna, many other things are also spoken. Like sometimes in my class, when I'm speaking Bhagavatam, I also speak some shairi. Sometimes I say some shairi. So now you may say, "Arey, shairi bola inhone, Krishna Katha nahi suna hai." But if you hear the whole 1 hour class, in that I may have said some joke or something in between, some statistic. But if you see in the whole context, that is Krishna Katha. Similarly, if you see the whole context of Bhagavatam, what is the situation, where he is speaking, what is the purpose of Bhagavatam, then you will see that, okay, this is also Krishna Katha only, because it is part of the class. If you zoom in into the class, when I'm suddenly speaking some statistics, and you zoom out of the class when I finish speaking those statistics, you will think, Prabhuji ke class mein kya statistics rehta hai? You know, when you are watching a movie, you watch from the beginning till the end. And in the end, when the last scene happens, you know, generally a good thriller movie, no scene is waste. And if they have shown some gun hanging on the wall, at some point of time that gun will be shot in the movie. Everything has a place. Everything has a place in Bhagavatam. So that's why, when Shukdev Goswami starts telling the names of all the kings in the Bhagavatam, and this is the fag end of Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj is about to die, and Shukdev Goswami tells him all the names of kings that will come in Kali Yuga. He says this dynasty will rule for 370 years, this dynasty will rule for 540 years, this dynasty will come, they will rule for 240 years. So you are like wondering, hey, where is Krishna here? What is Krishna Katha? And then suddenly, Shukdev Goswami says, Ye bhupatayo rajan bunjate bhuvam ojasa kalena te kruta sarve kata matra kata sucha. This is like a sixer. Shukdev Goswami is eating a sixer of the last ball. He says, ye means, ye sab jo maine naam bola aapko. I told you the names of so many kings, my dear Parikshit Maharaj. Ye bhupatayo. They were all bhupatis. They were the lord of the earth. They were not simply king or chief minister of Maharashtra or a prime minister of India. Imagine there is one prime minister for the entire earth. How much powerful he will be. So these kings which Shukdev Goswami mentions, they were not king of one country. They were ruling the whole planet Earth. So he's saying, Ye bhupatayo rajan. Ye rajan Parikshit Maharaj. You look at all these kings, they were bhupati. And what? They were something more. Bunjate. They were enjoying when they were the kings of planet Earth. Bunjate means they actually bahut maja kiya wo logon ne. Bhuvam, in this earth, they enjoyed. And sometimes what happens, somebody may be a king, but he may be an old man. And he may be enjoying also, but he may be frustrated enjoying because he may not have the capacity to enjoy. But because he has a position and power, he may try to enjoy. But Shukdev Goswami is saying, these kings were so powerful that they were not only enjoying, they were not only the lord of the earth, they had unlimited sensual capacity to enjoy. Ojasa. Ojasa means their capacity was powerful. So just listen to this verse. The last verse is coming, is saying, Ye bhupatayo rajan bunjate bhuvam ojasa. Three things. They were lord of planet Earth, they had unlimited capacity to enjoy, and they enjoyed also. But what did Mr. Time do to them? Kale na te krita sarve. काल ने, कृता मतलब कर दिया, सर्वे, इन सबके साथ काल ने क्या किया? काले न ते कृता सर्वे kata matra kata sucha. Kata matra means time has reduced them to statistics. This is Shukdev Goswami saying. Kata matra in Sanskrit means insignificant statistic. Kata matra. And then you may say, no. But this king was not a statistic. His name is there in our history books. So he says, Kata Sucha. Okay, he may not be a statistic. He may be part of some history storybook. Shukdev Goswami says, these were the rulers who ruled the planet with unlimited sensual capacity, and they enjoyed so much, but they have now reduced to simply statistic. And not only statistic, they are simply part of some story. Therefore, I am telling you, Parikshit Maharaj, absorb in Krishna. And why I am telling you this? Because it is not my story. Savai Mayam Maharaja, hey Maharaj, Savai, he, Vyasdev, Mayam, he told me this. Bhagavan Badarayana, he is incarnation, literary incarnation of Krishna. He told me Bhagavatam. And why did he tell me Bhagavatam? Savai Mayam Maharaja, Bhagavan Badarayana, Imam Bhagavatim Prita. He loves me out of affection. He told me this entire Bhagavatam. And you know what is this Bhagavatam? I'll tell you what is this Bhagavatam. He says, Savai Mayam Maharaja Bhagavan Badarayana Imam Bhagavatim Prita Sammitam Veda Sammitam. This Sammitam, this Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedas. So you want to read all the 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, all of that is there in this Bhagavatam. So if you're reading Vedas, you will read many other things. So you'll find that also a little bit in Bhagavatam. So in Bhagavatam, you'll find everything. But if you see in the complete context, it is Krishna Katha only. Because the goal purpose is to take shelter of Krishna. Is that okay? Prasik Govind Prabhu?
Yes, quite better. Basically, the point is the other things are meant to come to Krishna, for absorbing
Correct.
Krishna.
Remember the gun hanging on the wall in a movie, in a thriller movie.
Thank you, nice. Thank
That gun will be shot one day, one point of the time in the movie, right? Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And let me, I don't have any question. I will make one comment. That is that you said that essence of all the Upanishad, Vedas and everything is in Bhagavatam, and the essence of Bhagavatam you gave today, like how can we put Krishna in our mind, bring Krishna into our mind with the 6 points. And thank you so much for being that Suribhir for us, Prabhuji. And we will from our side, we will try that we can actually get Krishna in our minds. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajan Prabhu. Thank you, all of you, for attending the class today. Eagerly looking forward to being with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, done with